Salutations friends, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to share with you 10 fragrances that I think would be great compliment getters. Some of them I've worn and I've got compliments on. I'm also going to talk to you guys a little bit about the realistic idea of compliments and fragrances. So let's get into the video. First, there's a timestamp. I'm going to talk about compliments first and my thoughts on them. If you don't care and you want to jump straight to the list, timestamp in the description box, so that way you don't have to sit through my chat. You can jump right to it. Two, obviously, I've done plenty of other videos talking about compliments, also sharing other fragrances that I've either got compliments on or I've complimented on. If you're interested in those videos, those fragrances still apply, so I will link those videos below if you are so inclined. Now, compliments are one of the big decision factors when it comes down for people purchasing fragrances. And a lot of people, when they are looking on YouTube for videos as a reason or an inspiration to purchase fragrances, compliments are one of the themes when it comes down to popular videos, let's be real. Also, if you're wondering, if it looks like I'm making bedroom eyes past my camera, there's a giant cup of coffee. It's like this big, it's waiting for me, and I really want that cup of coffee. But just off topic. But compliments are something that I can understand the importance of being important for people purchasing a fragrance. Because if you're purchasing a fragrance as something to grab attention in a room, if it's for your peers or the opposite sex or the same sex, depending on whoever you're trying to woo, I believe that it could definitely be an important deciding factor. Some people will say, oh, compliments are important, or people don't get compliments. I'm going to give you guys a scenario that I think compliments could actually, and a fragrance could actually help you get the attention and possibly, you know, start a relationship or maybe have a fun evening or two or a few dates with the type of person you are trying to woo. But this is a realistic, in my opinion, realistic scenario. So you're wearing a fragrance that has a nice beastly projection, smells really good, is the type of scent that grabs the attention of somebody around you. The person that you might be trying to woo likes your scent, says, hey, I love what you're wearing. What are you wearing? You say, hey, this is what I'm wearing. And then that opens a dialogue for a conversation. I don't think the type of fragrance you wear is the only deciding factor to whether or not you're going to woo and have chances with the type of person you are trying to attract. Let's be realistic here. But in a lot of cases, to start a conversation, to win somebody over with your personality, your wit, your candor, your looks, your moves, your jives, whatever you got, your game, I don't know what you kids call it these days. Sometimes having an icebreaker is great, and sometimes having something like a very sexy, very loud, very beastly performing fragrance that is designed to grab attention is a likely scenario where somebody might start a conversation with you or open dialogue where then you could start an organic conversation with somebody that you might be interested in possibly chatting up or dancing with during the evening, or at a party where you could have a nice, organic, very natural conversation and not randomly go over and just kind of start a conversation and have it be not organic and not natural and have it be very awkward. And especially if it's something that's sexy that the person seems to enjoy, it doesn't hurt your chances. So I don't think that compliment getting sexy fragrances are the deciding factor. And I definitely think that other things play a huge part in regards to you probably being respectable, having the type of personality that meshes with that person's personality. You know, looks, do your looks mesh with the type of looks that that person's going for? A variety of different things. It's obviously not just fragrance, but if you are using scent to try to woo or gain compliments in a scenario like maybe a club or going out dancing or at a party, I think fragrance is a great way to kind of ice break the situations where somebody would come to you and elicit a conversation where then you could kind of naturally start conversating, and then you could win that person over again with your wit, tenacity, personality, looks, charm, swag, whatever again you kids call it these days. So I can understand the importance of performance, longevity, and the ability for a fragrance to be the type of fragrance that could elicit unsolicited comments and compliments and, you know, basically love from strangers, especially if you are in an environment where you're trying to peacock and for women and men. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with putting an importance on that, especially when you are investing a fragrance. Now, I myself don't really care, and I do get unsolicited compliments from strangers from time to time. Normally what it is that somebody is asking me what I'm wearing so that they can purchase it for their wife, and I understand, because usually those fragrances are by design the types of scents to elicit those types of scenarios. They're very sexy, very strong, very spicy fragrances, and normally it's like, what are you wearing? I would love my wife to wear that. Normally it is lust from Guerrilla Perfumes generally. But I will say that for some people, they don't understand compliments. I don't think compliments are the most important thing, but I also don't think that there is anything wrong with placing a value on compliments, especially when you are wearing fragrances as a way to emphasize yourself in a situation where you are trying to be social, where you're trying to have fun, where you're trying to maybe grab the attention of the opposite or the same sex, whoever you are trying to woo. If you are going on a date and you want somebody to possibly enjoy the way that you smell, and you think that wearing a fragrance that probably gets a lot of compliments would be a good impression with your scent. I mean, complimentary fragrances, there we go, are generally a great way to try and find a scent that would work in those scenarios. And if compliments are an important deciding factor for the types of fragrances that you would want to wear, then I have chosen some for you that have either gotten me compliments. These are newer to my collection and I have worn recently and gotten compliments, or the types of fragrances that I would assume would get compliments. And these are also not been a part of any previous list as far as I know. However, if you want to know my thoughts on compliments, again, videos below. And at the end of the day, anyone's reasoning for purchasing a fragrance, it's your decision. If longevity is the most deciding factor, if compliments, if artistry, if price, if a specific nose, a specific house, a specific brand, a specific style, I mean, you guys are the deciding factor. And just because I think these are the types of fragrances that would get good compliments or have gotten me compliments doesn't mean that they are the de facto. But I thought I would share them with you. So now that I've talked way too long about my thoughts on compliments, I know I've had this discussion before, but I feel like I need to have it kind of every time I do these videos, because a lot of people are like, these get compliments, but like, are they compliments from your mom? Are they compliments from your wife? Are they compliments from unsolicited strangers at the grocery store? Are they compliments that you got like when you were out dancing at a party, at a club where you had a good time with somebody, you were out dancing all night, you got a number, and so that was a very valuable compliment on a fragrance that, you know, you wanted to share with your audience. I mean, there's so many different reasons and different types of compliments. Like, hey, I really like the fragrance you're wearing, might be kind of an underhanded compliment, or what are you wearing? You smell amazing. So these are fragrances that, in my opinion, are the types of compliments you would get if you are looking to entice, woo, wear something that might be a little bit more sultry, a little bit more sexy, and also a lot of these would work really well in a party environment, a little bit more beastly fragrances that would work really well to grab attention of the person you're trying to woo. So let's get into the video. First fragrance is one that I haven't talked about too much, but I find it to be just really sexy. I love the ambroxan in this. It's really strong. It's an ambroxan bomb. I think ambroxan is one of those notes that does a dang good job at cutting through other notes and other fragrances and really making its presence known. And when you're in an environment where maybe there's a lot of other fragrances, maybe there's a lot of other smells like a fog machine, body odor because people are dancing and sweating. Maybe there's a lot of alcohol flowing and on the floor because people are spilling it everywhere. Or you're at a party and, you know, people have cats and dogs, or, you know, Febreze everywhere. There's a lot of different aromas that could be around in different environments. And somebody who's, you know, used to bartend, I understand that in different scenarios, usually these places have smells. And it's not that they're bad smells, it's just clubs and parties and houses and places, they have an aroma. And so when you have that mixed with maybe dozens or hundreds of people with their own deodorant and their own clothing and their own fragrance, you want something that's going to be distinctive and stand out, but it's not going to be bad. So for some people, ambroxan is a note that can cheapen a fragrance. Ambroxan is a note that people don't like, but in a situation where you're trying to grab attention, to be sexy, to stand out, it is one of those notes, one of those compositions that is fantastic. And number one, Après l'Amour from Thomas Kosmala, I find to be excellent. Now, some people have considered this to be a Baccarat Rouge clone. I've talked about my thoughts on that in the past, but what I do like about this fragrance is it's distinctive enough that if you smell this with other fragrances in a room, this will stand out. It's spicy and sexy, and the blood orange in here I find to be just fantastic on its own. And it just stands out as something that smells distinctive enough to stand out on its own, to be really sexy and enticing and brings you in. So if you want to have the type of fragrance that will stand out, so maybe if somebody is passing you by, or if you're dancing near somebody and you're trying to grab their attention and you think that maybe your fragrance will help you, I think that this is the type of fragrance that will help you in that situation. And what I mean by that is this fragrance in a lot of situations will stand out above other scents. So I've sprayed this when I review fragrances. Sometimes I just decide to smell a variety of different things. If I'm going to review something, if I'm going to do a list video, I will smell different things. I usually do a bit of preparation beforehand. And with this specific fragrance, I've noticed that if I have it on strips, I will smell this above anything else. Usually I have to put this off to the side. And it does have a way to kind of make itself more present and known. So it is on the more beastly side. It's not crazy oppressive and loud, but it does kind of have that kind of beautiful, prickly, like grabbing your olfactive attention. And so I think if you're looking for something that will grab somebody's attention and could definitely elicit compliments, because it is very sexy and it is very enticing, I don't think this fragrance will hurt. And I do really like the way that it smells. Again, I really do love the blood orange in this. I think it adds some juiciness and some beautiful, just kind of concentrated citrus flavors and smells without a lot of the brightness. And I just think that if you're looking for something to wear that will help and not hinder in a situation, if you're going to a club and you wanted to wear a fragrance that could probably organically start a conversation with somebody that you're trying to dance with, or maybe, you know, share a few drinks with, I think this is a great compliment getting fragrance that will help and not hurt. Now this fragrance I like. I actually really love this fragrance. I used to wear this a lot when I worked at Ulta. And I got a lot of compliments on this fragrance. So I got a lot of compliments from customers, clients, guests of Ulta. So what would happen is what I would notice is there were certain fragrances I would wear where people would actually come up to me and ask me what I was wearing so they could buy that fragrance. And I noticed that a lot of the people that would come up to me and purchase these fragrances were young college students. And most of those people, weirdly enough, would be actually some of the men. And I noticed that there was a trend, depending on when they would purchase it, along the times of when it was like rush week or there was a lot of parties going on. They were probably, in my horrible, never understanding the Greek life or going to a real college and just going to like culinary schools and things like that, understanding quite the reason why. But I noticed that the fragrances that people really liked were the stronger fragrances that had some beautiful, sexy, but like a unisex fruitiness to it. So a lot of times some fruits can come across as being very youthful, very feminine, very flirty and playful, but sometimes certain fruits can come across as being very sexy, very loud, very in charge, and also very shared. And this fragrance I love, and it's Burberry Her Intense. Now, again, this is another fragrance that people assume to be a Baccarat Rouge dupe, and the nose behind this fragrance is Francis Kurkdjian. I will say that this is not too bad, and I think a lot of the people that enjoy the composition or the style of Baccarat Rouge have found fragrances that are similar and cheaper and have enjoyed wearing those. And I remembered when I worked in Fort Lauderdale, I remembered a lot of men coming in and purchasing Cloud from Ariana Grande because they couldn't afford Baccarat Rouge, or they didn't want to afford Baccarat Rouge. There's nothing wrong with not wanting to spend that much money on a bottle of perfume, no matter what your reasons are. And if they thought Cloud would work well enough for them, then go for it. Wear whatever you want for whatever reasons. But there is a little bit more of a berry fruitiness in this fragrance that I think smells really sexy. And I also think that grabs people a little bit more naturally. Fruits are something that I think people are a little bit more comfortable with smelling. It's not something challenging, it's not something intimidating. People understand what fruits smell like, at least most normal fruits. Sometimes when you have some of those more conceptual, challenging, overripe renditions of fruits that kind of smell a little bit more like a jungle floor, people are like, I don't know quite how to take that, but if something smells like a berry or an apple or a pineapple, people understand that, and it's very complimentary. Fresh fruit is something that just smells really good. People really like it. People gravitate towards it. And especially something that has a bit of an enticing, sexy allure to it. And Burberry Her Intense definitely has that. Now this, in my opinion, smells more of a women's fragrance in regards to how it smells in regards to its compose. It smells like more of a fragrance that would be marketed to women, you know, with its fruits and florals and things like that. But I like that it does have some sexy spiciness in there that I think would smell really good on men. And I have gotten a lot of unsolicited compliments on this, and people have asked me to purchase this specifically during times when they were looking for fragrances to wear during events and parties and things like that. So it just leads me to believe that people were looking for fragrances to make an impression, and so that's just my uneducated opinion. But this is, again, another fragrance that will stand out more than other fragrances within a group of fragrances too. So as a compliment getter, you have a better chance of possibly gaining attention from wearing this fragrance than a few other fragrances like freshies or more aquatics or even certain woody aromatics, because that little bit of spiciness and fruitiness does have more of an intention grabbing aspect to the composition than a few others. Especially if you're going to be wearing this for a longer period of time, it does tend to have that kind of lasting effect on the skin. I think it's really beautiful. I do love this one a lot. Next two I wanted to share, if you weren't looking to so much make an impression in regards to going to a party or a club, but instead you are looking to wear a fragrance to impress a date, I love these fragrances. I think that these are beautiful. These are the types of compliments you will get where people will stop you and say, you smell gorgeous, you smell beautiful, what are you wearing? And if you want that kind of glamorous but easy type of scent to wear, a sophistication but at the same time something that's not too fussy, I find that people love that kind of approachable beauty. And I've worn these and I've got compliments on these. And the first one we have is from Lancome. It's Trésor Midnight Rose. And the second one is Erin Evening Rose. This one smells a little bit more kind of decadent and delicious, and this one is just really beautiful and stunning, a little bit more syrupy. But both of these are just very majestic, very beautiful, have again the heart of rose, but there's something about them that's approachable. And something about compliment getting fragrances is their approachability. They can't be intimidating. They can't be the type of fragrances that people feel worried that if they mention it to you, you're going to feel like offended. They have to feel like you're asking for a type of validation on what you're wearing. And there's definitely something glamorous and sophisticated and effortless about these fragrances. So if you're going on a date or you want to wear something for your significant other and you want to maybe hear about how beautiful and gorgeous you smell, these are absolutely fantastic. Now, going back to the idea of fragrances being spicy, grabbing attention, I want to talk about fragrances that are a little bit more unique that not many people are going to have in their collection. Now, I know that the first two, obviously Burberry Her, a lot of people probably have that in their collection. I don't think many people are going to have the Thomas Kosmala fragrance. Now, these fragrances I find are a little bit part of people's collections. The first one is Ginger Picante from Guerlain. This is part of their Aqua Allegoria line. The only thing I have against this fragrance is its projection and longevity. This is a fragrance you will probably have to reapply. It does perform better than the other fragrances from the line, but not nearly like some of the other fragrances in this list, but I find it unique enough and beautiful enough to definitely be a part of this collection in regards to compliment getting fragrances. If you want something that has a bit of mystery to it and also something that has like a delicious edge, Midnight Jasmine from Pearlescent Parfums. I have been so impressed with this fragrance. As a white floral lover, I love it. As somebody that loves apple and spice and fruits, this is great. This is definitely one of the fragrances that is on the spicier side, but it's not spicy in a way where it smells cheap. It smells exotic, it smells alluring, and it smells like the type of scent that is definitely going to grab attention in the way where somebody is going to come up to you and be like, I love what you're wearing, you smell amazing, hi, my name is so-and-so. This is a definite winner, and it's also the type of scent that not many people have in their collection, so it is a type of fragrance that will also stand out as being a unique signature. Now, one of the most beautiful, sexy fragrances in my collection is Hypnotizing Fire from The Harmonist. It's really hard for me to completely describe just how amazing this fragrance is unless you smell it yourself. And it's not that I'm horrible at describing fragrances, even though I am. I get it, it's fine. But there's a lot of nuances in this fragrance in regards to just spices and nut florals. There is something about the way that this plays on your skin that is just mesmerizing. If you've ever like looked at a candle or looked at a flame, again, Hypnotizing Fire, you just kind of get lost in it and you just watch it and you're just like, wow, that is gorgeous. That is how this fragrance is. And there's a uniqueness to this fragrance that I do not see in a lot of other more spicy, more sexy, more loud fragrances. And what I mean by loud, beastly fragrances is a lot of people really care about beast mode scents. And a lot of people hate that terminology. They're like, oh, it's so overused, it's so annoying. But the thing is if compliments are important, if you are using fragrances to grab attention, somebody, let's say, within social distancing distance is going to need to be able to A, smell the fragrance, and B, kind of pick up whiffs of something that's going to grab their attention. You can smell something that smells pretty and fresh, but a lot of times if you're trying to grab an attention of somebody in a situation where you are gaining compliments, you're going to want to grab the attention, not just that they think it smells good, but that they kind of lose their train of thought of what they were doing and they're like, I gotta know what that smells like. And when I think about the reason why people really care about compliments, it's not just the affirmation that they smell good, it's the affirmation of an opinion of somebody that they hold in high esteem. And for a lot of people that wear fragrances to try and woo, again, the type of person that they're trying to, again, gain the attention of, if it's the same sex or the opposite sex, if it's their partner, I think that there is something to be said for that attention-grabbing aspect of something sexy and spicy, and again, different, slightly different than your run-of-the-mill, but still very gorgeous, freshy, or a beautiful, well-blended and crafted woody aromatic. There's something about this that will grab the attention and hold the attention long enough to maybe have that person want to come over and say, what are you wearing? That is amazing. And you can say Hypnotizing Fire from the Harmonist, and they're being like, I've never heard of it. And you can be like, oh my gosh, it's this great fragrance. It's from this house. And you might be able to have a conversation about a beautiful fragrance that smells really, really good with somebody that genuinely wanted to know a little bit more about it. And this is just one of the fragrances that I've had people be like, oh my gosh, the second I smelled it, I understand. It is one of the more captivating fragrances from the house. And if you are going to invest in this house, this and I think Moon Glory are the two I would recommend. I know earlier I mentioned 2 fragrances to wear if you were trying to get go on a date and you wanted to get that kind of nice, like from your partner and companion. You smell beautiful, you smell sophisticated. Those were more feminine leaning fragrances. I wanted to include 2 more masculine or more shared leaning fragrances. And both of these have a really sexy tobacco element. First, we have Beverly Hills exclusive from Unique Luxury. You guys know how I feel about this. There's something really beautiful, really decadent, absolutely extra special about this. This is definitely the type of fragrance that you wear if you want somebody to know just how sophisticated and handsome that you smell. But at the same time, there's something very different and alluring about this fragrance. And if this is your first time tuning into my channel, this was my favorite release of 2021. I have a hard time wearing tobacco on my skin for some reason. It just tends to smell like barbecue sauce. So when I find a tobacco that truly smells incredible, I get so excited. And this is the most incredible tobacco note on my skin. And there's just something about it that smells amazing. Now, if you want something that's a little bit more boozy, a little bit more dry and ashy, but still has that attention-grabbing appeal and that kind of handsome, gentlemanly, complimentary type of gander, I don't know if that's the right word, and you also want somebody to say, you smell amazing, especially if you're going on a date and you want to impress the person that you're going with, Continuum from Toomey is another fantastic fragrance as well. This one blew me away. I wasn't expecting to like this one nearly as much as I like it. So these are not as loud and proud in regards to some of the other fragrances in this list, but if you're looking for something a little bit more understated, but nonetheless worthy of being the types of fragrances that will probably most definitely garner attention, I think these are excellent. And not least is probably a fragrance I've had in my collection, I think less than a year. I've had samples of this. Every time I wear this fragrance, I get some form of attention, either from somebody in my house, or if I wear this out and about, I've actually gotten more unsolicited compliments from this fragrance recently than just about any other. And that's saying something because I don't leave the house too much and I live in an area where people are definitely social distancing. A lot of people wear masks. So the fact that people can A, pick up this fragrance and B, also compliment me on this fragrance, I definitely think is saying something. This is a beautiful fragrance, absolutely love it, and it's from Xerjoff and it's Alexandria too. Now this is probably one of the fragrances from the house that has the most hype. It is also one of the fragrances from the house that I think is a perfect example of the quality that this house can put out that is a little bit more accessible than other fragrances. Now, Xerjoff is a luxury fragrance house. They are luxury priced. They are definitely up there in regards to attainability for some people. It can be pricey, but Alexandria too is part of the Oud Stars line, and that line, although is pricey, isn't crazy priced as some of their other fragrances are. And when I think about an oud fragrance, oud by design to me is a note, a composition, a style of perfumery. Middle Eastern perfumes definitely have that attention grabbing idea of here I am gorgeous, I am beautiful, and I'm here to stay. But there are some types of those scents and those styles of perfumery and those trends of perfumery that for some people, it's a little intimidating. And oud is one of those notes that for some people can be a little too much. On the West, we don't quite have the palette for a real oud, and so some of our fragrances have to be a little bit more watered down. And so we have some of these kind of more cheapened more, I wouldn't even call them ouds, I would just call them oud-inspired fragrances, like the La Croix of some of these fragrances. Like you have like a wood wearing an oud name badge in like three different rooms, like generally like whispering, I'm oud, and that's what Westerners consider to be oud fragrances. And then you have like real oud. But you have some houses that beautifully kind of take a gorgeous note, a gorgeous ingredient, and blend it and compile it in a way where you don't lose the integrity of oud, but you don't have some of the challenging aspects for people who are unfamiliar with the note. And some people don't ever want to deal with the challenging aspects of it, and I think that's completely okay. And that's where Alexandria 2 shines. You have all of the gorgeous nuances of this absolutely beautiful note with a lot of other things that come together to create something substantial, something beautiful, something glamorous, something nuanced, something luxurious, and something elevated. And I think that when people smell this, they are so enraptured with it. They're like, what are you wearing? Because not many people smell this, because this is a style of perfumery that not many people, I can't say words, smell in the wild. So when people smell it, they're immediately intrigued and enticed. And the nice thing about Alexandria 2 is it smells absolutely gorgeous. So this fits into the style of perfume. If you wanted to wear something for your date, your significant other would be like, you smell amazing. I love the way that you smell. You smell gorgeous. You smell handsome. You smell alluring. You smell sophisticated. You smell sexy. I love the way that you smell. I can't wait to take you home or wherever, you know. We're getting a little bit salacious over here. Or if you're going to a party and you want to stand out, this is a great fragrance too, because it does have that presence for the environments where there's a lot of people, a lot of smells, a lot of things going on, and it's unique and sexy enough to grab attention. So I think that this is a great example of a scent that kind of fits the entire category of compliment getting. I have gotten unsolicited compliments on this, and at the same time, I think that it is a great just addition to a fragrance rotation as something that can be worn for a variety of different reasons. And if you're looking for an investment piece for your fragrance rotation and you're looking for a beautiful oud fragrance that will get compliments and performs beautifully, Alexandria 2 is just absolutely stunning. I know a lot of people don't care about compliments. I know a lot of people think compliments are overrated or contrived. And I don't think that there's anything wrong for agreeing or disagreeing with the whole compliment getting discussion and debate. But I do think that if you are looking for a style and type of fragrance that gets compliments, you have to look at the reason why you want compliments. And if one of the reasons why you are looking for compliments is to get attention, to maybe go on a few dates, have some fun, woo your partner, then you're going to want to look for something that's going to grab the attention, especially in a sea of people that might be wearing other fragrances trying to peacock as well. And so most of these are excellent, and then the other ones I think work really well if you're trying to impress on a date. So these are my recommendations for complimenting getting fragrances. I don't do these videos too often. I do them every few years. So I'm obviously not going to be doing this video for a while, but I did want to share a lot of these fragrances with you because I think they're fantastic. I myself have worn them and gotten unsolicited compliments, there we go, and comments from a variety of different people. And I also wanted to make sure that I shared fragrances that genuinely got me unsolicited compliments. So these are those fragrances. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you agree or disagree with my thoughts and opinions on compliment getting fragrances, beastly fragrances, or the reasons why people look for these types of fragrances to add to their collection, I'd love to know what your thoughts are. And also, if you have any other fragrances to add, if you think this would be a fragrance I would recommend to a party, this is a fragrance that my partner loves when I wear a date, let me know in the comment section below. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time. Bye.